Are you letting someone else's free will decision run your life?
What if I told you that there's more to it? That there are benefits and resources from heaven that are available to help you in this life, and you've never heard about them? Are you curious? Well, join Gordon Merrill as he digs deeper into making heaven real in this life.
Welcome back to Making Heaven Real. Control. What did you just think of? What's your immediate reaction in your soul or in your spirit? Military strategy has long been to control the captives in some way or another to reduce the threat of those people uprising or returning to their previous lifestyles or their previous governing processes, or worse yet, their independence. We have accounts in the Bible of the children of Israel, for example, having 4 major exiles noted in Scripture. And that doesn't even count the Egyptian exile early in Genesis. Exiles are strategies that were used to expel people from their land, which back then was their identity. The land they had in their family and passed through their family was the biggest part of their identity. They also used things like physical destruction of their cities, or even destructing their religion, their spiritual beliefs. The last exile noted in Scripture, the Roman Empire used parts of all 3 of those to try and finally, once and for all, completely eradicate the children of Israel, but it didn't work. Had some temporary results, but it didn't work. A simple search on Google will turn up hundreds of hits around the topic of religious control. Religion embraces the holy, the good, the truth in individuals, according to one source, ultimately creating a set of beliefs, norms, and values for society to follow. It has been argued that one of the many reasons for religious existence is to provide an effective means of controlling individuals and society as a whole. This isn't some, influencer or a podcaster on TikTok or whatever. It's actually a person who has done a research study and had this published in a journal. So if this was set up as an effective means of controlling individuals and society as a whole, who? I'm going to sound like an owl before we get done with this here, but who created these beliefs? Who made the decision to establish the norms? And what motivated those norms? Who set the values to control society as a whole? One of the beliefs that we have that we hold true for making heaven real is that we don't discuss and argue denominations and religions. Why? Because denominations and religions are human-created institutions. You won't find them anywhere in Scripture. So if you're holding on to values that have been taught to you for years by a denomination or religion, it comes back down to who, there's that owl again, made those choices. Now, back then, that person had the ability to make a free will choice to decide which way to go with that decision. We've talked about free will choices and the choice you make, how that affects you and others around you, and maybe even a lot of people around you. We've also talked about how you are impacted by a free will choice from somebody else that you had absolutely no input into that choice or that decision. But in this particular case, we have a situation where free will choices were made by somebody or even a team of somebodies a while back to determine a set of things that were established as either a belief, a norm, or a value for that religion or denomination. Now, is it your decision to accept that? Well, let's talk about this a little further. I heard a preacher on YouTube not too long ago who was basically talking about this subject only from a different aspect. And basically says if we look at ourselves, our inner being, the spirit that's within all of us, you connect to your power, your abilities, your gifts, your talents, your love, and the gorgeous, enormous light that shines from within you. We believe that we have the ability to rise above anything, to look within anything and find the sacred within it. Doesn't mean ignoring what's going on, doesn't mean sitting back and doing nothing or ignoring what's going on around us. But it does mean that we have to recognize a calling for us to do something. Whether it's just prayer, whether it's taking action, helping others, or having an influence to help better the life of others. All of that represents a choice within us. None of that represents anything where somebody made the choice for you. Heaven put us here for a human experience. But we are not human in origin. We are a heavenly spirit who has been put in this body for this human experience to follow this particular life's plan that was charted for us before we came here. But this human body and this human that we occupy is not the first one. It may not be the last. We've talked about how our human or our spirit basically is working a degree program, working through a whole bunch of courses, which basically translates to a whole bunch of human experiences to learn, to grow, and to mature. This particular lifetime that we're in, and this particular class that we're in, that's working towards our final degree, are we going to let somebody else make those choices for us? I think the one thing that bugs me the most about a lot of this is the limiting factor. You know, we read that quote earlier where it He was talking about how the religious is existing primarily to have an effective means of controlling individuals and society as a whole. But I think besides that, it goes another step further, because what we're being shown and how we're being limited also translates to limiting God, which is one of the definite things about making heaven real that we do not entertain or allow. Who are we as humans to think we have any influence over limiting God unless we make the free will choice to do so? Now, make no mistake, the person or team of people who, for a religion or denomination, made the choice years ago to limit God, that's their choice, that's their eventual outcome. But whether you accept that becomes your free will choice. Heaven put us on this earth for this human experience. But each of us is a heavenly spirit. As such, we have ingrained, created heavenly abilities available to us. Abundance, guidance, and the ability to manifest. That doesn't sound like qualities of a controlling, restraining, and manipulative heaven. If you've ever wondered if heaven has the desire to control you, the mere existence of free will is proof that's not true. If you have the ability to make a free will decision to basically tell heaven no, then there's absolutely no control involved in that. So free will is proof that heaven does not control you or try to control you. So if you run across anything where it shows that we are trying to control individuals and society as a whole, it's not of heaven. Being placed under control never ends well for humans. Why? Because the primary portion of each of us is that heavenly spirit that knows free will is always an option. No matter where you are, what circumstance you're in, what controlling situation you're in, you know deep down in your soul that free will is always an option. And we've already said that the fact that free will exists is proof that heaven doesn't want to control you. Is your free will decision to allow somebody else's free will decision to limit your view of God in heaven? Or will you use your free will decision to not follow that and allow heaven to prove itself to you? Like we said, it's your free will choice at this point. Allowing the free will choice of others to dictate the parameters that control your life is a form of control. Exercise your free will and open up to heaven and allow your spirit team to show you a freer, better way of abundance, guidance, and manifested provision. The choice is really yours to make heaven real in your life.
We hope you learned something new about God's love and His resources during our time together. Please like and subscribe so you don't miss out. You can find our social media links and our contact info in the show notes. When you're commenting, please reference the episode number. Join us next time as we again search out the ways of making heaven real in this life with Gordon Merrill.